Welcome to week 3 in our class. This week we'll have you building on the last 2 weeks in which you are going to write a causal analysis essay using outside sources. You will need to know how to insert your sources and incorporate them into your essay by either using summarizing, paraphrasing, or quoting. You will then need to use in-text citations and build a works cited page. Knowing how to do each one of those, you learned how to do that in weeks 1 and week 2. So let's go into the week. On the outside you can see what is due, but let's go ahead and jump into the actual week to show you where we're going to go from here. So in addition to writing this causal analysis, you are also going to work with Aristotle and his 3 elements of rhetoric. It is a fast-paced week, so stay on top of things, as the week will get away from you very quickly. So first thing you'll do is make sure you look at this PowerPoint and go through it. After that, you're going to go and take the quiz to the PowerPoint. It's mainly just highlighting the major points in the actual PowerPoint. From there, you need to do this Connect assignment, Chapter 9, Analyzing Causes and Effects. This one is an interactive chapter, so you must click on it and follow through with it, and you will get points for it. It is not like the chapters last week where you just had to read them. Okay. Following that, you will need to check on the causal analysis assignment. When you click on that, this is what will come up, and so I'm going to show it to you here. The length, the minimum length is 2.5 pages, and of course it's typed in double space, and then you need a works cited page. So it's 2.5 pages plus the works cited page. Now within here, you also have to include at least 2 reliable sources. And you learned about how to find those sources last week. So from there, you're going to really write an essay and just read the directions. It's about some kind of popular cultural trend, something that's happening. And I have some topics here that I'm going to show you in just a moment. And if you find one that you like that is not on the list, email me to make sure that it'll work out for you. So again, for this essay, you're mainly going to work on choosing at least 3 causes or 3 effects. You'll learn about that in both the chapter and in the PowerPoint. If you read through this, you need an exact clear thesis and your essay map, of which I'm going to show you a sample of. Also down here, make sure that you're using MLA guidelines as you incorporate your sources. Within this week, I've included a folder with the videos that you have already seen, so it'll make it easier for you to just click right there without having to go back to prior weeks. You can also go into the video repository. So again, you're going to have an introductory paragraph, some well-developed paragraphs, and a conclusion. So that's the direction that we are going for this assignment. So with that in mind, I'm going to bring up one of the samples, and the samples are, we're going to come back to the topics in just a moment. The samples are right here. So if you click into this folder, you'll see there's some samples here. The one about an oil spill I have brought up right here. And you do not have to put this title right here. I put that just so I can make this ADA compliant for our class. So if you look at the sample, go through this introduction and take a look at how this student set up this essay. So this essay is kind of old, but it is still really pertinent, and it's a really good sample, so I still use it every semester. But if you read through it, you can see that it sets up what the essay is going to be about, and then also it talks about the reason for this causal analysis. So remember, in the thesis, you want to include the actual reason why this even matters. So if you read through this sample, you'll see the developing paragraphs. You can see where the student has used some source material. This first part right here is a paraphrase. Okay, and so you can keep on going and see another one like right here. This is where this person used a paraphrase and a direct quote. So kind of messed up the word. This should have been quotation marks, but I didn't change it because I want you to see that this is an actual student essay, and so even with this little mistake, this person still got an A. Okay, I also would recommend that you don't use contractions like this student did here. But again, if you slip one in there and maybe you overlook one, that's okay. You'll probably still do very well. Okay, so again, just look through and see how this person used sources and incorporated them. You can see that this is another paraphrase. Okay, and then down here is another quote. Okay, and the quote, if you notice, be sure to notice actually that there is a signal phrase here. It is not just dropped in. Okay, and then there's a conclusion. Normally I don't want a bunch of people to write in conclusion, but at this point it will work. Okay, in addition to that, there's the works cited page. Notice they are in alphabetical order and that they have the hanging indent. Okay, so that is absolutely necessary. All right, but the works cited is actually, I think when I look at it, is in MLA 7th edition. So in the 8th edition, we don't have to use a colon and we don't have to put the parentheses here. But you can see that when you look at the video to remind yourself how to make a works cited. So I also have another one that's really good, that's more recent, and it's about fluoride. So if you look at this one, you go through here and you can tell that this student is pretty new, but she wrote about fluoride mainly because she's a dental hygienist student. So she wrote about what she knows. So if you look through here, she actually used a paraphrase and a short quote right here in the introduction. We don't always do that, but it will work. Just make sure that you don't start out the first sentence that way. So it worked right here because it blended very well. You can see she has the signal phrase right here. She has a little bit of a paraphrase here, and then the quote right here. Notice that the quote is incorporated right in it, so you don't have to capitalize right here, and you don't have to put a comma. The two videos in that folder, the one especially about blending quotations, will remind you of how to do this. So if you look through here at the very end, this student gives a reason for why we should even care about this. And you can tell that she says periodontal disease takes shape in essentially 3 stages referred to as gingivitis, periodontitis, and advanced periodontitis. So if you look at that, those are the 3 topics. And if you look, right here is the reason why. Okay, so that'll get you started. Okay, so after you do that, you can get right back out of that folder. Okay, and then you want to find yourself a topic. So click on possible topics. The topics are pretty much endless. I have one. This is a list. If you just really can't decide what topic to write about, this is a list here. Hopefully it'll open kind of quickly. I'm not sure if it will or not. In my instance, it normally does not, but it did. So I'm going to bring it on over. So here's a list. You can use any of these. Okay, it's a big long list, and I rather don't like long lists because I'm overwhelmed by them. But I ask that you refer to this list after you've looked at all these other areas. Okay, so right now you can go to a website called procon.org, and this website will show you, let's see if I can get to it really quick, it'll show you a bunch of different topics about which you can write. Okay, so that is a good idea. But I will tell you, if you write about this, and let's say we're going to talk about, we're going to talk about student loan debt. That's a big one for us right now. If we look at this and you like something that's right up in here and you want to maybe draw this right here, this sentence about credit card debt, this whole thing right here. If you're going to do that, please go see the numbers here. And when you do that, what you're going to want to cite is you'll want to cite what that number was. So you want to cite this person here, Brett Green, but although you'll have to make this in MLA citation form, okay, but you'd want to do that rather than citing procon.org. Okay, so there's that. Here's another one. This is with our library, and I'm not sure if it's going to open for me right now because it opens very slowly. Yeah, it doesn't look like it's going to open very fast. I'm going to keep that opening while I'm talking and maybe be able to come back to it. My broadband width isn't very good where I live, so it takes kind of a bit. So also for you, if you're looking in the databases and it's taking a little while, just be patient. And if it says it's loading, it might take a little while. Other than that, here's some articles that are interesting. I team up with Professor Nickel, who teaches sociology and philosophy at WKCTC, and he gives me a lot of neat topics about which you would be interested in. Like I would have never known anything about insect collapse. That's something interesting. Okay, and then also here about the banned single-use products. Okay, so this is interesting. Maybe you want to look at that because this is coming our way, even in Kentucky. Since California and some other more West Coast places have already banned some single-use bags and such. So that would be a good topic. But just look through here and find something that interests you. Another idea to consider is when you write your final researched essay, argument essay, it could also be on this same topic. So if you write your causal analysis about, say, single ban use, and you're explaining the causes of why we have to ban single-use products, or you write about the effects, remember you don't write about both, maybe in your final research paper, you're actually going to have a call to action in which your paper is about the need for the United States to ban single-use plastics. So that's how that would work. If you're still not sure about that, you can email me and I will help you out. Okay, so I'm going to get, there's a lot of things here, but again, this is not these are not the only topics. Okay, if you have one that you don't see here and you don't see on this list, go ahead and email me to ask me if you think it's good, if I think it's okay, and because I don't want you to go down a road where you end up wasting time. Okay, so also be sure that you click on this video. You want to insert these quotations, summaries, and paraphrases correctly. I am grading this. This is one of the big things that I am looking for, is whether or not you are blending your quotations and citing them correctly and making a proper cited page using MLA style. Okay, so do not take this lightly because this is one of the major elements of this class. Okay, and then also right here, be sure to read about block quotes. If you're quoting something and it's over 4 lines, you need to block this. So be sure and look at it. This actually is from week 1 as well. This is where this was, but you might have forgotten since then, so this is a reminder. So here's just some other reminders as well, too, about how to cite a web page without an author. Okay, you can go look at that. Here's another one, how to cite an article with a database, other common sources, YouTube, okay, a government document. Okay, so there's all kinds of things here to just go through. If you have a question about a source, whether or not you think it's reliable, make sure you email me. I don't check my email all day long, but I do check it at least twice a day, most likely 3 times a day. Okay, but if you email me in the middle of the night, that's going to have to wait till the next day for me to see and respond. Okay, so moving on from there, I'm going to need you to watch the PowerPoint and then do this is a connect activity that goes along with pathos, ethos, and logos. That forms the rhetorical triangle of rhetoric, and that is this right here. This is a major pillar on which we stand when we write any researched essay. That our entire class is really built upon Aristotle's rhetorical triangle. So if you do these, you listen to these PowerPoints, and you do these connects, in addition to this connect, reasoning and research, it will help you. Okay, so I know it's a lot of work, but it's, again, this is a short class, so stay on top of all of these. Okay, in addition to that, I've said before that we don't have peer reviews in here because we don't have time. This, for me, is not the ideal situation. In my normal 16-week courses, I always have a peer review. So if you would like to do a peer review, just click here, okay, and you will go and you'll create yourself a thread, okay, and you will attach your document. But here's the catch. No one's going to really know that you have posted that there unless you let someone know. So I suggested that you go through the introductory discussion board and find someone with whom you may have something in common and correspond with that person. So in order to let that person know that you have a draft that you would like that person to read, click on Send Email. From there, you're going to roll down to where it says Single Select Users, and you will select somebody here. So let's say I would like Michael. I would like Michael to look at my essay. I'm going to click this to populate it here, and I will post something here that says, will you review my essay? Okay, and then down here I will tell Michael that I have put my essay in the discussion board for him to take a look at. Okay, so I'm going to get out of that though, so I don't want to email Michael right now.